I do not have much time. I do not have much time. He has to pay the bills before their due date. He has to pay the bills before their due date. Previously tied. Previously tied. What will you do tomorrow? What will you do tomorrow? Did we collect 3 months ago? Did we collect 3 months ago? My car is faster than yours. My car is faster than yours. Let's go. Let's go. I will create at sunrise. I will create at sunrise. Borrow. Borrow. We volunteered at a shelter to help homeless people. We volunteered at a shelter to help homeless people. Shouldn't you be a pilot in 3 days? Shouldn't you be a pilot in 3 days? Wouldn't it break at 3 p.m.? Wouldn't it break at 3 p.m.? I'm not a criminal, I'm just curious. I'm not a criminal, I'm just curious. In fact, this ticket was not supposed to be a sprint goal. In fact, this ticket was not supposed to be a sprint goal. I hit my leg. I hit my leg. Sometimes the manager. Sometimes the manager. One of my favorite subjects. One of my favorite subjects. If only they could meet their favorite celebrity. If only they could meet their favorite celebrity. We have to do laundry. We have to do laundry. Our wife is a philosopher. Our wife is a philosopher. I will never forget the happy moments we shared together in our relationship. I will never forget the happy moments we shared together in our relationship. Where can I find cooking oils? Where can I find cooking oils? Which restaurant would you like to have dinner at? Which restaurant would you like to have dinner at? You clean it after 2 weeks. You clean it after 2 weeks. You can report immediately. You can report immediately. When I see a spider, I scream and run. When I see a spider, I scream and run. Maybe Tommy or John would like to say something. Maybe Tommy or John would like to say something. I miss you when you are not here. I miss you when you are not here. My mother left my father again and came home a little earlier than I expected. My mother left my father again and came home a little earlier than I expected. For our team. For our team. Was your grandfather a guide? Was your grandfather a guide? Are you currently learning? Are you currently learning? We may not work at sunrise. We may not work at sunrise. He will start his new job next week. He will start his new job next week. What's the problem? What's the problem? You're not going to do research every day. You're not going to do research every day. Have you ever tried zip lining? Have you ever tried zip lining? Necessary. Necessary. I am practicing my photography skills. I am practicing my photography skills. Sweat. Sweat. How long will it take for me to recover? How long will it take for me to recover? We must be careful not to make mistakes. We must be careful not to make mistakes. I need to buy new clothes for the summer. I need to buy new clothes for the summer. The ostrich is the fastest bird on land. The ostrich is the fastest bird on land. I'm typing on the computer. I'm typing on the computer. Could it be a bricklayer? Could it be a bricklayer? I'll be playing tennis at 3 this afternoon. I'll be playing tennis at 3 this afternoon. Is there any topic? Is there any topic? Why are you using it? Why are you using it? Can you help clean the room? Can you help clean the room? Sorry, I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Can you explain? Sorry, I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Can you explain? Will it be fixed soon? Will it be fixed soon? I need a day off after that busy week. I need a day off after that busy week. You have to account for every bullet. You have to account for every bullet. Despite being a small car, the interior is surprisingly spacious. Despite being a small car, the interior is surprisingly spacious. Do you like swimming? Do you like swimming? Can surround weekly. Can surround weekly. We will have dinner. We will have dinner. Can you appear? Can you appear? There is nothing we can do for that girl. There is nothing we can do for that girl. Shouldn't we be cops often? Shouldn't we be cops often? They are not translated every day. They are not translated every day. We watched a football match on TV. We watched a football match on TV. He could have done engineering 5 months ago. He could have done engineering 5 months ago. There are 2 apples in the basket. There are 2 apples in the basket. 2 weeks later he complains. 2 weeks later he complains. The new restaurant is more crowded than before. The new restaurant is more crowded than before. I think my salary is about $1,000. I think my salary is about $1,000. After one night we must be playwrights. After one night we must be playwrights. Every year they kick a kick. Every year they kick a kick. Wants to stay here. Wants to stay here. I'm not sure I can help you. I'm not sure I can help you. Despite the rain, they had a pleasant time at the open-air concert. Despite the rain, they had a pleasant time at the open-air concert. Sometimes it has to cost. Sometimes it has to cost. I need to buy new clothes for the summer. I need to buy new clothes for the summer. Do you have gluten-free options for bread rolls? Do you have gluten-free options for bread rolls? It can be published after 4 weeks. It can be published after 4 weeks. Was my mother-in-law a singer? Was my mother-in-law a singer? We rent a quiet place to live. We rent a quiet place to live. The musicians will compose new songs for their album. The musicians will compose new songs for their album. He had his car washed and detailed at the car wash. He had his car washed and detailed at the car wash. He was studying for final exams in college. He was studying for final exams in college. Can it connect to 5 a.m. earlier? Can it connect to 5 a.m. earlier? He was retiring every week. He was retiring every week. Is there any sugar in the bowl? Is there any sugar in the bowl? Richard was able to use the bus lanes, which was great, but of course he had to be careful not to crash into the buses. Richard was able to use the bus lanes, which was great, but of course he had to be careful not to crash into the buses. His grandfather is a singer. His grandfather is a singer. Can he lose? Can he lose? How many chairs are around the table? How many chairs are around the table? As soon as possible. As soon as possible. Were her grandchildren ballerinas? Were her grandchildren ballerinas? My father told me, you should call your grandparents more often. My father told me, you should call your grandparents more often. The store opens at 9 a.m. The store opens at 9 a.m. After 5 weekends he is a garbage collector. After 5 weekends he is a garbage collector. Were we okay? Were we okay? You can report immediately. You can report immediately. He was happy to be promoted. He was happy to be promoted. I will pay my taxes next week. I will pay my taxes next week. The soup is too salty for my taste. The soup is too salty for my taste. The electric skillet is great for one-pot cooking. The electric skillet is great for one-pot cooking. No urologist after 4 nights. No urologist after 4 nights. If it rains, we will stay at home. If it rains, we will stay at home. You lock. You lock. How many countries have you visited? How many countries have you visited? She is knitting a sweater. She is knitting a sweater. They love to camp in the summer. They love to camp in the summer. I wish we had spent more time exploring the city. I wish we had spent more time exploring the city. Can you give me a sponge bath? Can you give me a sponge bath? Her husband is a shop assistant. Her husband is a shop assistant. He hung the picture on the wall. He hung the picture on the wall. I will retire an hour ago. I will retire an hour ago. He meditated and felt more relaxed as a result. He meditated and felt more relaxed as a result. Put forth. Put forth. If I could find $1 million, I would buy new shoes. If I could find $1 million, I would buy new shoes. I'm not sure if I'm the best fit for this job. I'm not sure if I'm the best fit for this job. John took a nap. John took a nap. We used to play board games on rainy days. We used to play board games on rainy days. They want to buy a new house in the city. They want to buy a new house in the city. Time interval. Time interval. We've been waiting for over an hour, they said. We've been waiting for over an hour, they said. If you eat too much junk food, you can gain weight. If you eat too much junk food, you can gain weight. He will retire when he turns 70. He will retire when he turns 70. We couldn't be assistant cooks a week ago. We couldn't be assistant cooks a week ago. What's the problem? What's the problem? Can we influence? Can we influence? You can start driving when the traffic light turns green. You can start driving when the traffic light turns green. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Is your favorite fruit apple or orange? Is your favorite fruit apple or orange? I chased the cat in the street. I chased the cat in the street. It should not be applied every day. It should not be applied every day. She is a yoga instructor and teaches classes at the local gym. She is a yoga instructor and teaches classes at the local gym. We had the broken lock repaired at the locksmith. We had the broken lock repaired at the locksmith. We prefer watching movies at home rather than going to the cinema. We prefer watching movies at home rather than going to the cinema. I read an interesting article about the benefits of reading. I read an interesting article about the benefits of reading. He should practice playing the piano every day. He should practice playing the piano every day. Is her aunt a housewife? Is her aunt a housewife? We had been to that restaurant before. We had been to that restaurant before. Social inclusion. Social inclusion. Let's go inside. Let's go inside. I usually take the same bus every day. I usually take the same bus every day. Were your parents a secretary? Were your parents a secretary? Can I borrow your umbrella? Can I borrow your umbrella? How long have you been married? How long have you been married? Should not cook for 2 weeks. Should not cook for 2 weeks. Can't he usually be a musician? Can't he usually be a musician? I think it's time for me to say goodbye. I think it's time for me to say goodbye. The long movie is more boring than the short one. The long movie is more boring than the short one. Our menu has been carefully prepared for different tastes. Our menu has been carefully prepared for different tastes. I need to buy a new pair of shoes. I need to buy a new pair of shoes. Can't he blame? Can't he blame?